Jazz Jackrabbit 2 was made by Epic Mega Games, nowadays Epic Games, and released in 1998. Although I read that apparently got accidentally leaked, since it actually confirmed by developers way before the fact that they actually announced it. So there is that aspect that I think is kind of funny, but it kind of sucks for them. That's really the case that actually happened. So the main premise that this time, Devan Shell, the same villain from the first game, was a time machine to rewrite history to eliminate all Hares, with him using Jazz and Ava's wedding ring to complete the machine. So it's up to Jazz to chase Devan through time in order to retrieve the ring and stop him from, well, pretty much rewriting all of history. But Jazz is not alone in his journey, as he's accompanied by, I don't think I can say that name. I think it's a slur in Europe. But also, since nowadays you get this game with the expansion pack, you also have another character named Lori as well, so you have 3 playable options, each with their own unique gimmick, such as Jazz can do a super jump and also hover in with his ears. So there are different aspects, and there are also power-ups that will have you switch characters at points, so there is that aspect that okay, feels kind of weird, but you get the idea of multiple characters. You can play with your own gimmick. So unlike the first game that had little animated segments after every episode, here's one of the animated segments when the game boots up and after you beat the game. So there's not really much whimsical when it comes to trying to present the narrative going on when it comes to it, though that's probably because this game, despite the episodes, I believe was more released all at once, opposed to being released episodically, despite the chapters still being called episodes, you know. Many changes were made to the gameplay, including the fact that the camera is way more zoomed out this time, making it way easier to see obstacles coming up and also move around. Thank you! That's one of my biggest issues from the first game, and it's better here. Although we'll see when it comes to movement controls, the characters constantly feel like they're on ice physics, even while in the air. And it also added a run button, so that way you're not just constantly zooming all the time in the first game, but the run button just also heavily increased the ice physics on top of it. But I do like the fact that, despite it being specifically a run button, you can activate it mid-air and still move faster and maneuver yourself. So I love the fact that the extra speed boost can be gotten even in ways that really shouldn't make sense, but hey, it's a cool way of incorporating a speed boost. You can now carry multiple types of special ammunition, and you even keep them upon death, so it's easy to keep them around and use them when you want to, and swap between them. There are also special blocks that in this game, they require different things to destroy them, like some require the bus stomp technique, some can be destroyed by Jazz's super jump and stuff like that, some require running on them, but some require being destroyed certain weapons, so being able to store them when you need them later is very helpful, especially for the boss encounters. Because in this game, rather than having specific boss levels, instead the boss encounters are pretty much at the very end of the last level of an entire world or section. So I don't know, for me it feels a bit weird that they normally have their own level, especially since it kind of feels like a lot of times it kind of feels squished into the position of how the game has the camera pointed. But the boss fights here, I like way more in the first game. They put up way more for a fight and are way more interesting to go against. Although there are some that I feel like are a little cheap, most specifically because of how difficult it is for you to hit them, meanwhile how easy it is for them to hit you. There is also one boss in question that did like 2 hearts of damage per attack, which was ridiculous. But for the most part, the bosses are way better here in the first game, and are a big notable upgrade. Levels have plenty of goodies to go for, like a lot of gems and stuff, but if you're just going straight to beat the levels, then I will say levels here feel way shorter than they do in the first game. Like, you can blister these levels pretty damn fast if you're just carrying on getting to the exit. There are bonuses you can get, just a little freaking bonus that does require you to have like these 20 silver coins on your person or to access them. Like I say, you just don't care about that, just want to get to the levels. Then this game feels way shorter than the first one in that aspect when it comes to just doing the bare minimum. I also say this game game has way better enemy variety than the first one. There are some enemies that annoy me, like the little ghost enemies, and these little crow enemies. They're just so annoyingly hard to hit, but for the most part, do like how there's way more variety in the enemies and how you go against them. Although, don't like that some enemies take multiple hits from your gun in order to take down, because I just feel like it's kind of an annoying thing for a platformer that enemies take more damage, but it's whatever. They're all good, and the level themselves are pretty good. Also like that the fact there's one level that specifically says freaking ice levels never go away or something like that as a message. That's also good fun, although I wish the early levels did also do a better job at explaining certain mechanics and stuff. Like, they do a decent enough job, but you will need to pretty much fiddle around the controls to understand exactly what the full moveset is. And don't make the mistake I did, where I started with the secret files, because secret files were the first thing listed in this game. No, the secret files are something you should do after playing to the main campaign, because that's where the expansion pack comes in. So do that stuff later and not first, because it will not explain things at all for you. Now time for a major issue I have with playing this game. There was one level where I managed to get to a bonus section and go through the entire bonus level, which was like, alright. Then after being a bonus level, I was then transported back to the main level so I can go to the next area. Except, that's not what happened. Instead, the game placed me back onto the trigger for the bonus level, sending me back to it. I thought this did wrong for a certain passageway, but no, I did the right thing. So I tried it again, and I got sent back to the level again. And it turns out, this is a known issue where, although no one really states proof of this, many believe that Jackrabbit 2 was rushed out for release because of how much content either missing, or certain stuff just aren't in the game, like mentioning a bonus level, but this game doesn't really have any other bonus levels in it, so this one kind of stands out. And this issue also stands out because this bonus level will keep you in a loop where it's going to tell you complete it, you will then be sent back into it, making it so you can't progress at all. I even tried to redo the entire episode, but when I beat the first level of the episode, it would just send me back into the room, which would teleport me back to the level, and I was stuck in a bonus level loop again. And you can't skip episodes like in the first game. You must complete the previous one to go to the next one. So my save file and everything was basically entirely bricked because of this whole entire aspect. I could not progress to the game because it would just put me back into the same issue. And the only way to avoid it was to basically start from scratch, which I ended up doing, and just avoid a bonus level, which I ended up doing. But it still feels like something I shouldn't have to do, basically ignoring the entire aspect of the game just because of the fact that it was not exactly implemented properly and will just soft lock your entire experience. Now, I'm playing the GOG release of this game, which does include bonus optional stuff you can install to the game. Basically, fan patches that include turning this game from Jackrabbit 2 to Jackrabbit 2 Plus. I don't know if this actually fixes the issue with that, but I installed it, which also ended up deleting my progress, so to restart the entire game from scratch again, in order to get back to where it was, but I managed to avoid the issue entirely, so I said, don't know what guarantees that I'll fix it if you do get the bonus level, but it is something, and hey, it does add more features, like more resolution options. Granted, there's no issue resolution options, but it adds more to the game, so honestly, just take the fixes that are pretty much added into the GOG release when you download the game. So, just take it, you'll notice it's working, because the message on the front screen will be different, and there will be different artwork in the game as well, so just take the fan patches that GOG includes in this release. Now, earlier I mentioned expansion called Secret Files, which includes more zones and more levels, and also included the incorporation of new character lore as well to this game. But interestingly, what I found out is that apparently this was originally only released for Europe and Poland, and it's with this GOG release that it became a worldwide thing. Which is an interesting tidbit, the fact that an entire expansion pack never got brought over to the States, despite this game being, well, an American-made game by Epic Mega Games. So, find out what's our aspect really interesting. But, of course, included with this is also Holiday Hare as well. and the Christmas Chronicles, which is an enhanced version of Holiday Hare, which just, listen man, Holiday Hare was already pretty cool in the first game, and now it's even cooler here. Oh, the boss of this freaking thing, oh my god, why it's so ridiculous. So, there is more content that can be found here with this GOG release, especially if you only played the original game back when it came out in 1998, which is super cool. I do know that I believe that before the GOG release, there was like a fan version of this game, or a fan remake of the first two games, that made the games playable, but with the GOG release, people say this is the go-to version, even if it has that level bug that I mentioned earlier, that can pretty much soft lock your entire level. But this game is real short, so if you're trying to redo everything, you'll probably spend like an hour at best getting back to where you were. Overall, I do like Jackrabbit 2 more than the first gameplay wise, so I feel like the first one had more charm with animated cutscenes and stuff like that, and also find this game just feels like it removes so much from the first game, but also improves on so much. It's easier to better platform to play, easier to better screen space, get better level design, stuff like that. But there's just stuff like the whole entire more 3D perspective bonus levels and stuff like that. Like I said, the animated cutscenes at the end of each episode, I feel like would have added more charm to this game. Like I said, it's kind of rumored based on how you want to see it, whether or not this game was rushed to market, especially when the fact that several bonuses were never released in America until the GOG release. And despite the fact that I believe this game has better reception than the first one, it also apparently sold worse than the first one. Like, it sold so fewer copies to the point where the third entry got completely cancelled. And yes, I know there is a third entry that got GBA, but that's completely different than the third entry Epic Mega Games apparently had planned. So there is that kind of disappointing aspect that basically when it comes to the original work of this game, it basically ends here. But like I said before in the first video, the fact that developers could do something, not developers, a company like Epic Games is so huge now. I'm surprised I haven't done more something like this, or even older IPs. I know my brother wants something done with freaking, I think it was called like One Must Fall 2099, something like that. Like, there's a bunch of old IPs that Epic owns that they could do some stuff with it. Yeah, make it a Fortnite skin or something. At least do something with the stuff you own, because there's some cool stuff from the past that just doesn't have much really being done with. I feel like more could definitely be done, especially with, in this case, a mascot platformer in the form of Jackrabbit. But so far, like, Epic isn't really interested in it. I also want to mention this game also has multiplayer as well, even LAN multiplayer when it was new. So there is also that one aspect. But like I said, overall, I do like this game more than the first, even if I feel like it has less charm in the first one. But it is a fun time. It will feel way shorter if you're just going for the base necessity to beat a level. So keep that in mind. So there's just stuff like that that just can feel disappointing, but it is also just a cool game. It's also a level editor as well that you can also use to create your own levels. And I also know there's some people use a level editor to get around that bug I mentioned with the one level with the loop. So there was a hunter aspect of trying to get past it. But hey, make your own levels does sound pretty damn cool, especially when a PC game that was released in 1998. That is pretty damn cool. But this is a cool game. Wish more be done with the IP. That is all. And I was supposed to mention, unlike the first game, this was my first time ever playing this game. I never actually got to play the sequel as a kid. So, hey, I gotta do it now. And with all the content that was released in America. Thanks, GOG. That's super cool of you. I still wish you fixed that level, though. Anyway, that is all I gotta say about Jackrabbit 2. Alrighty then, good day.